You're good at what you do. We love to listen to you cast. We love to see you grind. You better not give up. You better not be thinking about giving up.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode of The Feed. My name is Akinola, and on this week's episode, we are going to talk to Victoria VikkiKitty Perez, who is, if you've never heard of her, you're going to find out about her. She has been doing the damn thing for a few years now and is the newest addition to the Overwatch League roster. But before we get into that, we want to paint a picture for you guys so you have an opportunity to learn the ins and outs of how Vicky got started in her career in the esports industry, and hopefully we learn a thing or two. So Vicky, how are you today? What's going on?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm honestly just really excited to just dig into it. I mean, so far we've been preparing for the next season coming up very soon, upcoming this week actually. So it's been very busy, but overall I'm really excited.
I want to delve into a little bit of your past, before you became a prominent figure in gaming. You've a prominent figure in gaming. You've been working with Primera, like you started with Smash, right?
Yeah.
And you've been casting, you've been doing that thing. How did you get involved in esports? Like, where's the origin story begin for you?
Honestly, when it comes to starting with Smash, Smash being a grassroots community, down here in South Florida, there's a bunch of locals, especially during Smash 4, where South Florida was considered one of the strongest regions back in the day. And I actually didn't know where to attend those locals. So when I came across one of the LAN centers down here and I saw the community for the first time, I was like, oh, wow, like this is super like popping. Like this is kind of like a family, that was the first impression that I got. And just like usually when it comes to a lot of commentators, it wasn't my initial reaction to just join the community and then go into commentary. It actually just started with me wanting to get better as a Smash player. So when I discovered the community down here in South Florida, I discovered that it was a lot bigger than what it is, spanning from across the entire world. I honestly felt like I found my place within the gaming community, especially within the Smash community. And then I went from getting into the community to be a better player to then loving to talk about the game and then becoming a commentator.
Smash was how I got involved in esports as well. I feel like everybody I know is from Smash, and it's such a great place just to meet peers of different backgrounds, different age groups and all that stuff, and just have them all come together and just enjoy a video game. And this is no different with other video games. At what point did you realize, hey, I could do more than Smash Brothers? Like when did you realize that it's time for me to branch out from Smash and do something else? And how did you settle on Overwatch League?
So it's funny. It actually started in 2017 when Nintendo was like, hey, we want you to introduce ARMS for E3. And that same event, they actually also had me do Pokemon DX for Pokken Tournament. And when I got involved with those two games, I was a little nervous because, it was the first time that I did a game that wasn't just Smash Brothers. But when I did a lot of my research, I'm very note heavy when it comes to casting. And when I did a lot of my research, I kind of found how these games were functioning at a higher level, but in a deeper aspect. And obviously when it comes to high level play, when it comes to fighting games, you see a lot of similar mindsets when it comes to looking at the players and looking at how those players approach things and then transfer it over to different mechanics into those games. I really enjoyed it. It's very psychological, looking into how momentum works, how mentality comes into play and all that stuff. But as a gamer, I strive to just be a better player when I got involved in competitive gaming overall. I've always been a gamer ever since I was really little. But when it comes to Overwatch and it came to actually wanting to get bigger into the scene and get more involved, I've been playing Overwatch since beta. And so since 2016, at least for myself, and I have always been heavily involved in shooters way more than fighting games my entire life. Smash is actually the only fighting game that I heavily involved myself with. But when it came to shooters, I have a very FPS background when it came to Call of Duty, Overwatch, of course. Overall, it's funny because when I first started playing games, I was 6 years old and would steal my dad's game when he would be on CS:GO. And then, you know, like me being sneaky type of thing. And I come from a very traditional Hispanic family, so you know, it's always like, you're a lady, you need to be proper, what are you doing, like that, you know, that's your dad's game. And it was like, but I have fun, you know, like, so when I got involved with Overwatch, it first started when I did the Hero Rumble event in Taiwan with ZP and actually another Smash commentator, Asti. And that was basically the first time that I kind of dipped my toes into looking how a lot of these professional Overwatch players that actually didn't make it into the league, that's actually how the event was hosted. It was for a lot of popular players, like Kefri was there. A lot of famous content creators that came from Overwatch just got involved with this event, and a lot of other previous like contenders players too. And I really loved the community. I always followed the community as well. So when I was doing a lot of Smash Bros. Events, I was always hopping on to see what was going on within Overwatch, whether it be Tier 2 or Overwatch League for that season. And I very much enjoyed Overwatch because I actually played more Overwatch than I did Smash Brothers for the longest time. So that's actually how it kind of started for me. I just, again, like kind of like Smash, I was a player, and then it expanded into something more than that. And I was kind of able to tell a story using my own experience, but also kind of building that diversity that I've been able to watch with other players in other regions as well.
Were you ever worried that you would be stuck, pigeonholed in Smash Brothers, like not being able to go to another esport? Like, what did you do to have to like break that mentality?
Yeah, I did actually, because something that I feel like a lot of Smash content creators kind of deal with, especially streamers, your audience wants to watch you play Smash. And, you know, because that's where your audience is integrated. So if you're not streaming Smash, you're not going to have the best viewership that you would have had otherwise. That was something that I realized a lot, where if I was streaming Smash, I was always at my peak viewership as a streamer. But if I streamed any other game, it wasn't usually the same case. So I was worried. I would talk to a lot of my friends within the community. I would also talk to like Alpha Rad, because, you know, he was able to expand towards other games and become a very successful YouTube content creator himself. But he originally stemmed from Smash. Those were his roots. So seeing, you know, these individuals break out of that was very encouraging to me, because it showed that, you know, I don't have to be just fully rooted into Smash. I don't just play Smash, I play other games. So hopefully when people watch me, they're watching me for me and not just because I'm playing Smash Brothers. So it was definitely a fear of mine, but it was more so like, if I feel like streaming Overwatch or Apex, like I'm gonna play any of those games. You know, if I feel like having fun with what I'm doing as a content creator, or whether it be me getting into a game professionally, I'm gonna try my best to do it. And it was just a lot of research too. Like I was also juggling, currently right now I'm juggling commentating the Players Cup for Pokken, and you know, that was something else in my mind, where I'm trying to also make sure that I'm telling and talking about this game and complimenting the top level players of that game in a good way. I'm not trying to degrade them, or I'm not trying to make the broadcast any worse, because I want to make sure I could do my best. So it just brought it had me basically research these different games like it's a separate college course that I was taking if I was back in school. But that's how I kind of took it as an approach.
You can definitely tell how passionate you are about the games that you're involved in, and that shines. That I think that does so much for a personality or a caster or commentator, to show that, you know, they're not just showing up. You know, they've done their research, they care about the community and the game, and I think that makes you look even more amazing than your impressive resume of titles that you've been involved in. We are fresh into the 2021 season of the Overwatch League, and it's your boy Akinola Verissimo here each week, bringing you the fusion content that you need all season long. And making today possible, this podcast series is powered by Xfinity. Get a fast and reliable connection from Xfinity, the only network with gig speed Wi-Fi and the preferred provider of the Philadelphia Fusion. I'm part of an immigrant family as well, and you know, they have certain thoughts about how their children should be, and you know, playing video games. I remember my mother telling me, you can't make a career out of video games. You play too much of them, they're going to ruin your life. Did you have something similar like that growing up? And how did you convince your parents that this path that you were on was the right one?
I'm lucky right now because, now that my parents have some proof, I guess, that it's possible, they're all very supportive, both of my parents. My dad, I would say, from the very beginning has been like my number one fan. Took a little convincing for my mom, but now she's, all on board. But when it came to starting things out, it started with, hey, I can't make it to this family function. I'm on my way to this LAN center because I'm competing in a tournament. And it would be like, well, what exactly are you doing? You're spending a lot of your time there. Are you studying? Like, you're also going to school. So it was as if I was able to successfully balance my studies, because I was also going to college at the time, and me building up my resume and me going to these events as a competitive player as well as a commentator, everything was in the realm of possibility in my parents' eyes. When it came to starting things off in my career of just playing video games, they saw it as a pastime, because my younger sister, she's 7 years apart from me. She's overall, I kind of grew up with I'm an only child mindset, because when my sister was born, I wanted to help out around the family. I was only 7 years old, but we were also at a point where I was playing certain single player games to pass my time, because there was nothing else for me to do. I grew up really far away for where my school friends lived, like an entire county over. So I couldn't just, wake up and go outside to play outside, because none of my friends lived nearby. So a way for me to pass time was just playing video games. And I think my passion and having fun with those video games have always shown itself, especially towards my parents, because that's all I would ask for. And my mom was very traditional, where, girls shouldn't be enjoying these type of things. You should be more involved with fashion, makeup, and all that stuff. And I was like, but ¿por qué no los dos? Because I could juggle them both. And eventually she was able to see that too. And she was also very supportive, but it took some time. It took some convincing. It wasn't very easy, but when I was able to really show them how passionate I was and how seriously that I was taking this, it's actually like a little earlier. My mother was celebrating. We share the same birthday. I was born on her birthday. So yeah. So earlier today, when we had gone out to eat, I was telling her, like, I have something to do later on for this interview. It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be, for this channel. If you should totally check it out. And she was all for it. She was all super excited. She made sure that I could get home on time. So, little things like that like play into it. Their actions showing that they're very supportive. And I'm honestly really thankful for that.
Yeah, it's so important to have a supportive family, whether it be blood relatives or circle of friends. So it's really great to see that you've got a village behind you. That's great. Let's talk about your transition into Overwatch League. Getting a call from big publisher or game studio saying, hey, we want you to be part of this main broadcast of one of our biggest games. We want you to be one of the faces. How did it feel getting that call from Blizzard? Like what was going through your head?
It's so funny because, like, at first I was like in denial, because I was like, I don't know. I guess something that my friends tell me is usually I'm always beating myself up really hard. Like I'm like, I don't know if it's called like imposter syndrome or something like that, where I'm just kind of like, oh, I've done Smash for so long. Like, is it really possible that I could really like claw my way up here? Like, no matter how much I work, is it really possible? And when I first got into contenders, my biggest issue that I face currently as a caster wasn't even like being unfamiliar with the game or anything like that, because I played the game for so long. I have more hours clocked into Overwatch than I did for even Smash Brothers, despite me casting Smash for 5 years. But it was more so finding a perfect pacing and being able to cast in a way where the audience understands it, because that's always been my approach for Smash commentator, where I want to cast at a level where if your grandmother is listening over in the next room, she could tune into the conversation and kind of find that familiarity with you. So that's how I've always tried to approach it. It's different when it comes to Overwatch. You can still take that approach, but since I follow in with the play-by-play role, it's a lot more difficult to approach that same role in a similar mindset that I had done in Smash Brothers, because there's more time to build up into a narrative. Whereas as play-by-play, I don't want to seep too long with my pacing, because my color caster should take it away and then fill in the analysis gaps that I can't fill in because I'm doing play-by-play. Yeah. So it was just a matter of finding a proper pacing that not only complements me, but also complements my co-caster, because I'm not trying to step on any toes and I want to be able to give a proper broadcast without it sounding too messy.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it was honestly really crazy. But, you know, just looking at how I was invited to do Overwatch League, it was shocking. I actually had to double confirm. I double confirmed with them, like, so just to get this straight,
you got the right person, right? Like, you want me to
like, you want me to do this, like, this year? Me, like, from contenders to this, and like both at the same time? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, of course. I was like, wow. When my friends in the Smash community would be like, oh, if there's a game that you want to commentate, what game would it be? Immediately Overwatch. Overwatch. It's always been Overwatch. So when I told, when you know, people were like, oh, you know, what's one thing that you feel like you can't ever do but you would love to do? Some people were like, oh yeah, like Evo, you know, and I loved Evo. I had so much fun with Evo, but you know, my answer would be like, yeah, Overwatch League, you know. And it's like, it's happening. So it just feels like almost like a dream come true, as cheesy as it is.
No, it's not cheesy at all. I mean, a lot of people do this esports thing for years and years, and you know, they have a goal, but it's incredibly hard to reach, because you have all these people who are working towards the same thing. So to make yourself stand out, you know, you deserve all the success in the world. Like, I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, let's effing go. Like, let's go. I was going crazy. Because, you know, there are a lot of people who are going to get stuck doing that one same thing and never find a way to grow out of it. But you're one of the people who has, and you're an example that I feel like a lot of upcoming talent should follow. That if you work hard, dedicate yourself to your craft, and really show that you're serious about this thing, then you can achieve success. So, you know, there's stuff that I've learned from you, and I'm sure that other on-camera personalities have learned in one way or another. So keep being a great example of that. I think that's great. Cheer on the Fusion and watch every match on YouTube right on your TV. Just say Overwatch League into your Xfinity voice remote. You are this great example of esports personality that I feel like a lot of people should look up to. And, you know, I'm sure you're already aware of how this industry can be when you are, you know, you're not white, or you're not a man, and you have to hold yourself up to a higher standard. Do you always feel like you had to work a little bit harder to show that you were serious about what you were doing, whether it be in Smash or Overwatch Contenders or any other esport that you've been a part of?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Like that's and I feel like a lot of women in esports that I've personally spoken to, they've kind of echoed something very similar to that experience. It's funny because I actually I would say it's more prevalent when I first joined the Smash community. I do feel like it's a problem overall in gaming. Being more of a male dominated space. Luckily with Smash, there's a lot of diversity when it comes to the different types of top level commentators. You know, you have EE and TK paving the way for a lot of those casters who are trying to grow in that Smash Brothers industry. But when it comes to my experience as a woman in that community, it was really hard. It was definitely really hard. And the biggest issue that I found that I was told was my voice actually not being like, either it was too shrill or it was too deep. So I have always had those comments growing up where it's like, oh, what are you doing here, little man? Aren't you supposed to be in school? And I'm like, oh, you know, but I treated it as a joke. I like would go along with it. And at one point, I think for like 2 years, I had this tweet pinned to my profile when I first started casting Smash that said, I'm the one that sounds like a little boy when I cast your matches. And people loved it, you know, like I was going with it. Like, it's 100% okay. Like it's called, loving who you are, and I can't change the way my voice sounds. I could try to change up my pitch or something like that, but especially when it comes to genuine hype, especially since I'm play-by-play now in Overwatch, like, it's difficult. This is how I sound, and it's like, you take it or you leave it. Like, there's nothing I could do about it. When it came to Smash, though, it was I would say Overwatch the community has been nothing but so supportive and appreciative. And I know how gaming communities overall could be toxic in their own way, and there could be a few bad apples that could be louder than the nice people. But for some reason, I just my impression of the Overwatch community in comparison to what my experience has been within Smash. Again, I've been in Smash for 5 years, so I've seen a lot more in Smash, but I've only felt welcomed in Overwatch. It feels amazing. I feel like everybody is quite literally there. Like, if I'm like, hey, I want to look out for X, Y, and Z for the broadcast today, can you make any sort of points for me and list them after the broadcast so that way I could get better? I was always striving to get better, and there were people in that community to make sure that I could stay on my A game and that they could provide me the assistance necessary to grow as fast as I could. Because again, like, this was a game that, one, I was very passionate for, and two, I played a lot, and now I'm learning a different casting style because I wanted to fit into the pacing. Because again, so in my opinion, completely different pacing than what I was used to in Smash Brothers.
Is your current water heater giving you the cold shoulder? Upgrade to a reliable Bradford White water heater for all the hot water your family needs. Visit bradfordwhite.com to find a professional installer near you.
And it was really difficult because a lot of times I was compared to other male commentators, respectively, of course, because these were the highest commentators in the industry. But when we had another woman get involved in the scene, instead of comparing the two top level Black commentators with themselves, it was always, look at these two women, let's compare only these two women and how they sound, because they're the only two women that we see. So that was always the difficult part to everything, where I was actually really happy because I was the only woman casting high level Smash events for 4 years, from like Smash 4 into Ultimate. And so like the last 2 years, when unfortunately that other woman commentator got into the community, and that situation happened. It's that situation happened. But I saw it as an opportunity to say, maybe this is going to encourage more women to get involved in the community, because that at first I got involved in commentary when I was only 19 years old, and it felt like a lot of weight on my shoulders to be the only one kind of paving that path. But I always felt like, this is for the better, like maybe I'm going to encourage other girls at home, even if I thought about my little sister at times, like, because my little sister's as much as a gamer as I am, and she always on that Overwatch grind tip as well. She sees me commentate, and I think to myself, maybe women like my sister at home or younger girls see me and they feel inspired. So that's how I approached it, and I always grinded through. I had to take certain approaches to making sure I'm never reading chat. No matter what is streamed on, I'm never on the chat. If I'm on the chat, it's because I'm not on casting. Like, I'm not on commentary, I'm moderating. But that was something that I had to take into consideration, and that was something I had to learn when I got involved with commentating. And I knew that it wasn't the same case for my other peers. A lot of my other peers didn't have to deal with it to the extent that I did. And that's unfortunate. But in my eyes, it was something like, all right, well, I'm lucky because I've always had to deal with toxic gaming environment. Growing up, I could be toxic too. When I was 13, I wasn't the best angel out there,
right, who wasn't?
Especially since my favorite, I was grinding on Call of Duty. So at 13 years old, I was no angel. But at the same time, when I was old enough for me to be able to do something and find a passion into commentating and find a passion into talking about games at the level that I could, and getting more insight, because it also made me into a better player, seeing different scenarios play out that I probably would not have been able to see while I was playing the game. It educated me, and it actually helped me see a level of the game that I would not have seen otherwise. And I wanted other people to see that with me.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I just like your insight into this topic is, I think, something that we can all kind of learn and grow from. And so if I'm sure you've got colleagues, fans watching this, maybe people who are even thinking about getting into the same industry that you are. Maybe I want to be VikkiKitty when I grow up. What advice you know, and your journey is obviously still continuing. You've learned a lot. What advice could you impart to them to set them best up for success? Like, what's something that you wish you were told just getting into this esports thing?
Something that I actually was told, and I was, you know, I had to truck along the best advice that I could follow and not just turn cheek away from it was don't give up. Literally just don't give up, because the amount of times that I was kind of like hammered down and feeling discouraged and feeling like maybe I didn't have enough energy on that cast, or maybe I could have used a different intonation to get a point across, and overthinking about the way I was spreading a message.
Yeah,
I definitely wanted to give up a bunch of times. I'm really lucky that I had a bunch of friends like actually kind of pick me up and say, yo, what are you doing? Like, you're good at what you do. We love to listen to you cast. We love to see you grind. You better not give up. You better not be thinking about giving up. And I'm just like, you know, like the amount of times that my peers that were at events with me would sit down after a national was done, and it was, you know, kind of like that after party setting where everybody was having fun after a long weekend of work, and they were like, why do you feel so down in the slumps? And I'm just there like, you know, like it just gets harder and harder every event. I'm not too sure how long I can keep doing this. And they were like, I don't like the way you're saying that. You better not give up. And you know, if I gave up, then I wouldn't have been able to expand. I wouldn't have been able to continue doing something that I felt really passionately for. So I know it sounds so basic of an advice, but don't give up. Literally don't give up. No matter how much you beat yourself down, no matter how much you feel like maybe it's not worth the time, or, you know, you don't get into this industry for the money. No, I think any caster could say that. You do it because you enjoy doing it. And if you don't enjoy doing it, then unfortunately, I don't think this is the type of industry for you.
At some point, you want to get to the point where you're doing what you're doing on camera to make money, but if the love isn't there at the start, then what's the point, right? And it'll show in your broadcast. So I'm glad, Vicky. I feel like a smarter individual after talking to you, just because watching you grow from just doing Smash to getting into a high tier esport. I mean, that's something to behold. I can't wait to see where your journey takes you on next. I know that Overwatch League isn't the top for you, and you still have a lot more to experience and climb towards. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to talk with us on the feed this episode. Where can people find you on social media?
They can find me at VikkiKitty on Twitter, VikkiKitty. And yeah, that's basically where I update all my news for commentary. And if anybody wants to follow me on Twitch for when I want to stream, I do stream on twitch.tv/VikkiKitty, same as my Twitter handle.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to your opening week in the Overwatch League. We hope you kill it. And maybe we'll have you back on the cast one of these days and talk about how that's going. So again, thank you very much for everybody here at the feed. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Akinola Verissimo. If you want to watch more of the feed, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, and you can catch us on all your favorite streaming platforms. Until the next episode of the feed, have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.